Hey everyone, KeithBot here to cover the plant abilities in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. First off, let's look at the Sunflower. The Sunflower's first abilities are the Heal Beam and the Rainbow Beam, which are exactly the same except one's a bland old beam and the other one heals allies with the power of rainbows. The beams heal one ally at 9 HP per second and can be used an unlimited amount, with the small exception that it will turn off after 4 minutes, but it has no cooldown so you can spam it all day. I prefer the Rainbow Beam because rainbows. Fun fact, did you know you can choose who you want to heal by looking at them and then pressing the heal button? The second ability of the Sunflower is the Sunbeam, which has 100 ammo, fires 10 times a second, and deals 9 damage for a critical hit and 7 damage for a regular hit. The alternative to this is Solar Flare Beam, which has 50 ammo, fires 11 times a second, and deals 12 damage for a critical hit and 10 damage for a regular hit. Both of these abilities take 30-second cooldowns after you unplant yourself. I prefer the Sunbeam because it lasts a bit longer and I find it better for dealing with crowds. Fun fact, when the Sunflower uses these abilities, it takes less damage than it normally would, and if you don't fire and unplant yourself, you won't have any cooldown. The third ability is the Heal Flower, which drops 3 sunlights every 2.5 seconds, with each sunlight healing 5 HP to the closest plants. The Heal Flower can stay up for 30 seconds unless vanquished, and takes 45 seconds to recharge after being placed down. The alternative to this is Dark Flower, which fires bursts of 6 at 30 shots per second, where each shot deals up to 5 damage but drops down over a distance. The Dark Flower takes 2/3 of a second pause between each burst. The Dark Flower will attack the nearest zombie and will faint after 30 seconds unless vanquished beforehand, and it also takes 45 seconds to recharge after being placed down. I prefer the Heal Flower most of the time, but if my team already has a good medic, I switch to the Dark Flower. The next plant we'll cover is the Peashooter. The first ability of the Peashooter is the Chili Bean Bomb, which takes 3 seconds to explode after being thrown, has a 45-second cooldown, and can deal 175 damage, doing almost all enemies in its blast radius. On the other side is the Sombrero Bean Bomb, which takes 4.5 seconds to explode and has a 30-second cooldown, but it can deal 250 damage. For me personally, I prefer the Chili Bean, unless I'm trying to take out a teleporter. The next ability of the Peashooter is the Gatling Turret, which can fire 100 Ps at 10 Ps a second, then needs to take a 30-second cooldown. Each P fired can deal 9 damage for a critical hit, or 8 damage for a regular hit, but the damages do drop down over a distance. On the other hand, there's the Retro Gatling, which can fire 50 times at about 7 times a second before needing to take a 35-second cooldown. Each P fired from the Retro Gatling can deal 14 damage for a critical hit, or 12 damage from a regular hit, but the damages still drop down over a distance. I prefer the regular Gatling because I like having more time to land my shots. Fun fact, the Peashooter takes less damage while in its turret form. The last ability of the Peashooter is Hyper, which allows you to run at incredibly fast speeds and jump higher than normal for 8 seconds, but takes 20 seconds to cool down afterwards. The alternative to this is Super P Jump, which doesn't give the Peashooter a speed boost, but allows it to jump heights similar to the Foot Soldier's rocket jump, but not quite as high since the Foot Soldier can jump and then use the rocket jump. The Super P Jump lasts 7.5 seconds and takes 30 seconds to cool down. I prefer Hyper since you already have a jump boost when you use it, and I don't think it's worth sacrificing speed for height as a plant. The next plant we'll look at is the Chomper. The Chomper's first ability is Goop, which deals 5 damage a second for 3 seconds, during which enemies are only able to turn, shoot, and reload, and it only takes 5.5 seconds to cool down. On the other hand, Super Goop deals 10 damage right away and lasts 4 seconds and takes 10 seconds to cool down. When enemies are super gooped, they turn even slower, but I still prefer the original Goop to deal more damage rather than hold enemies in one place longer. The next ability is Burrow, which lasts 5 seconds and takes 30 seconds to cool down. The other option is Sprint Burrow, which lasts around 2 seconds and takes 14 seconds to cool down. While underground, you can stay still so you use less of your dig time, and there won't be a dig trail so zombies won't be able to spot you as easily. I prefer the regular Burrow because I like staying underground longer, and you can still travel pretty fast. Also, you can travel much further using the regular Burrow as opposed to the Sprint Burrow. The last ability of the Chomper is Spikeweed, which you can have 4 on the ground at a time even though you can only hold 3, and won't disappear until someone steps on them. Once a Spikeweed is laid down, it takes 1 minute to recharge, just one Spikeweed. Once a Spikeweed is stepped on, it holds the enemy for 2 seconds, dealing 25 damage each second. The spiky spikeweed, on the other hand, deals 35 damage a second for 2 seconds once stepped on, and you can only have 2 out at a time as opposed to 4, and you also only hold 2 at a time. I prefer the original because I like having more traps rather than having better traps. Alright, I saved the most complicated for last, the Cactus. The Cactus's first ability is the Potato Mine, which you can have 4 out at a time even though you can only carry 3. Each Potato Mine takes 30 seconds to recharge and can deal 175 damage each. And they'll stay on the ground until stepped on, or until you try to place a 5th. The Spud Mine ability, on the other hand, allows you to have 6 out at a time, even though you can only hold 5. Each Spud Mine can deal 37 damage and takes 30 seconds to recharge, just 1. I like to use the original Potato Mine to deal more damage and usually dooming the zombies. The second ability is the Garlic Drone, which can fire 6 times a second for 5 seconds before overheating, needing to take a 4-second cooldown. Each shot fired can deal 10 damage per critical hit or 9 damage per regular hit, but the damages do drop down over a distance. The Garlic Drone's Cob Strike fires 7 cobs which explode 3 seconds after impact, dealing 70 damage each. The Cob Strike takes 10 seconds to charge up the first time and 30 seconds every time after that. The Garlic Drone only has 5 HP. The Garlic Drone takes 1 minute to recharge after being destroyed. The Artichoke Drone, on the other hand, fires 6 times a second for 5 seconds before overheating, causing it to take 4 seconds to cool off. Each shot fired can deal 8 damage per regular hit and 9 damage per critical hit, but the damages still drop down over a distance. The Artichoke Drone's Cob Strike fires a single cob that deals 25 damage after exploding, 1 second after it hits the ground, and takes 3.5 seconds to charge up again. The Artichoke Drone has 20 HP, and also takes a minute to recharge once it's destroyed. I prefer the Garlic Drone because I like the bigger Cob Strike, and the additional 15 HP never really helps me when I'm using the drones. The final ability of the Cactus is the Tall Nut, which can have 4 out at a time, even though you can only hold 2, and take 30 seconds to recharge each. On the other hand is the Iron Maiden, which is taller, not as wide, it has more health, and you can only have 1 in reserve, but you can still have 4 out at a time, and it only takes 30 seconds to recharge as well. I like the Iron Maiden because it's easier to hide behind as a Cactus since you're so tall, and you can still get to those hard to reach places that you need to use the Tall Nut for. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button KBOT's holding up, and let me know in the comment section down below what I should do a guide on next.
Whether it's an achievement, a game mode, potted plants, summonable zombies, or anything else you can think of, let me know in the comment section down below.
Subscribe for more awesome videos.